Part A, Unico MB0050. The Clockmaker's Secret. Part 1. The boy who loved time. In the heart of a misty old town, where crooked rooftops leaned toward one another like they were whispering secrets, there lived a boy named Oliver. He wasn't like the other children who spent their afternoons chasing kites or climbing apple trees. Oliver loved clocks. His grandfather, Mr. Whitmore, was the town's clockmaker, a tall man with silver hair and eyes that seemed to know more than they revealed. His little shop was unlike any other place in town. Inside, hundreds of clocks ticked in harmony: grandfather clocks with deep, echoing chimes, tiny pocket watches with delicate whispers, and wall clocks whose pendulums swung like beating hearts. Oliver could sit for hours, listening to the rhythm of time itself. He loved how each clock told the same story in a different voice. But there was one clock he wasn't allowed to touch. It stood in the farthest corner of the workshop, covered in a dark velvet cloth. Whenever Oliver asked about it, Mr. Whitmore's voice grew heavy. "Not that one, Oliver. That clock doesn't just keep time, it keeps memories." The boy's curiosity burned like fire. What could a clock possibly do with memories? Why was it hidden? One night, when the wind howled and his grandfather slept, Oliver crept into the shop. He lifted the velvet cloth. Beneath it stood a tall, strange clock with silver gears that shimmered faintly, as if alive. Its face had no numbers, only glowing symbols that shifted and rearranged. When he looked at them, unable to resist, Oliver reached out and touched the pendulum. The moment his fingers brushed the cold metal, the world tilted. A rush of sound filled his ears, not ticking, but voices, hundreds of voices, whispering, laughing, crying. Suddenly, Oliver wasn't in the workshop anymore. He was standing in the same town. But it was years in the past. He saw children he didn't recognize playing marbles, women carrying baskets of bread, and horses pulling carts along cobblestone streets. No one could see him, but he could see everything. Oliver realized, with wide eyes, that the clock had carried him into a memory. Part 2. The Secret of the Timekeeper. Morning sunlight woke Oliver in his bed the next day. For a while, he thought it had all been a dream. But the velvet cloth was still lying on the floor, and the mysterious clock ticked faintly, glowing. His grandfather noticed. Instead of anger, Mr. Whitmore's face looked weary. "So, you touched it," he sighed. Oliver nodded. "Afraid. You've met the memory clock," said Mr. Whitmore softly. "It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to anyone. It chooses. And last night, it chose you." Oliver leaned closer, trembling with excitement. "But what does it do, grandfather? Why can I see the past?" Mr. Whitmore explained that the memory clock was crafted by a mysterious traveler long ago, a man no one remembered clearly. This traveler believed that time was not just seconds and minutes, but living stories. Every laugh, every tear, every step left an imprint, and the memory clock could bring those imprints back to life. But there was danger. If someone stayed inside a memory too long, they could forget their present and become lost forever. That was why Mr. Whitmore hid the clock. "Promise me, Oliver. Don't use it carelessly. Curiosity is tempting, but time is not a toy." Oliver promised, but inside, he knew he couldn't let it go. That evening, he returned to the shop, heart pounding. He wanted to test the clock again. This time, he found himself standing in the middle of the town square during a winter carnival that had taken place decades ago. Lanterns glowed, music played, and snowflakes danced in the firelight. He wandered through the joy of strangers long gone, smiling as if he belonged. But then something strange happened. Across the crowd, he saw a little girl staring directly at him. Unlike the others, she wasn't blurred by time. Her eyes met his with startling clarity. She whispered, "Oliver, help me." And in a blink, the memory shattered. Part B. Part 3. The girl in the clock. For days, Oliver couldn't forget her face. Who was she? How could she see him when no one else could? He returned again and again to the memory clock, searching through moments of the town's past, markets, festivals, storms, quiet nights, but he never saw her again, until one night, The clock pulled him into a memory of the old river, years before the bridge was built. And there she was, the same girl, standing by the water's edge, her hands clasped, waiting for him. "You found me," she whispered. Her voice was like wind through leaves. Oliver stepped closer. "Who are you? Why can I see you?" "Because I don't belong in the past. Or the present," she said. "I'm trapped inside the clock." Her name was Ilara. Long ago, she had been the daughter of a watchmaker's apprentice. She found the memory clock before anyone else and played with it too often, wandering too deep. One day, she stayed too long inside a memory and couldn't escape. The clock had kept her spirit, holding her between time itself. "I've been waiting for someone brave enough to see me," she told Oliver. "Someone who could free me." But freeing her wouldn't be simple. Ilara explained that the clock demanded balance. To release a soul trapped inside, another would have to take their place, or the clock would stop ticking altogether, shattering time for everyone. Oliver's heart pounded. Could he really let her stay forever? Or would he risk himself to set her free? Part 4. The choice of time. Oliver grew quieter in the days that followed. He couldn't tell his grandfather what he had discovered. Every time he looked at the shop's ticking clocks, he felt the weight of Ilara's eyes, waiting. One stormy evening, unable to bear it any longer, Oliver returned to the memory clock. Ilara was there, her figure faint, her smile both hopeful and sad. "Oliver, you have a choice," she said. "You can walk away and live your life as it is. Or, you can give me yours, and I will walk in the world again." Tears stung his eyes. He was only a boy. How could he choose something so heavy? He thought of his grandfather, of the ticking workshop, of his love for time. And then he thought of Ella Ronley, trapped for eternity, watching memories fade. With shaking hands, Oliver placed his fingers on the pendulum. "If time chose me, then I choose you," he whispered. The clock trembled violently. Its gears spun. Its face glowed brighter than the moon. A surge of warmth flooded through him as the shop dissolved. For a moment, Oliver felt weightless, timeless, like he was becoming part of the ticking itself. And then, silence. The next morning, Mr. Whitmore found the velvet cloth covering the clock once more. But something was different. Standing beside him in the workshop was a young girl he had never seen before, with wide, grateful eyes. "Who are you?" he asked. "My name is Ilara," she said softly. The memory clock ticked faintly in the corner. Its pendulum swung slowly, and if one listened closely enough, the whisper of a boy's laughter echoed in its rhythm. Oliver had become a guardian of time, living forever in the heartbeat of every clock. And Ilara walked free. The end.